face front, true believers. Welcome. Hold on. There we go. That's still not better. Good grief, they messed with the settings. Got messed up again. Good lord. Hi guys. Welcome to the Pitch Nerds, the weekly nerd show where two nerds get together to bring you the latest in nerdy news, reviews, and pitches. I'm Cap, up and partially in this box, and then with me today is Mr. Frosty, as always. Best friend, fellow nerd. He's pixelated over here, so I don't know what happened, but oh, you know what it is? There we go. There it is. Yes. Little blurb compressed everything. There we go. Little glitch in the matrix. Hi guys. Good morning. Frosty, how you feeling? How you doing?
I'm as good as I ever am, I suppose.
Nice. It is. I am a Darth Vader on Sunday. This is when Darth Vader isn't choking people. He's got his robe on. He's got his beanie on. He's got a world's best dad coffee brewed. It is a good day.
I'm gonna try and fix my camera. I didn't realize it was so high.
There you go. The lighting is good today too. Look a lot better.
Yeah. All right.
Anyways, hi.
Let us know anybody watching if I think all our audio and everything's fine, but we always appreciate feedback.
Yes.
We don't have like anyone, so
we're so lonely.
Yeah, kind of. But I mean, you know, some streaming people, they have like people watching and like doing that kind of job.
We call them admins, but yes,
yeah.
Normally there are people policing the.
Sometimes the producers and all that crap, but
yeah.
Okay. Anyway, how was everybody this morning?
Fantastic. Oh, we have some goodies to talk about today. We're just going to dedicate the whole show to Pedro Pascal and how he's just scrumptious daddy material.
Yes, I guess we do have two shows that to review that is all about him freaking escorting a little one around.
He's so good at it. Let's see here. We also have Battle Nerds. We have The Bride versus Xena, Warrior Princess. Should be interesting battle.
Yeah, one of our more balanced ones, if you ask
me. I have a lot to say. We have Behold Nerds. Unfortunately, Kill Bill wasn't available anywhere, so we went with, in the last minute, my original pitch, or my original choice was a Tropic Thunder. I'd actually never seen this movie. So, sorry for the last minute switcheroo, but I'm probably going to end up buying Kill Bill if we don't have it just somewhere on the
I don't
shelf.
I mean, we could talk it sometime, but it's on Blu-ray. I mean, I think we just revisit it once it goes streaming.
Yeah.
But it was a bummer. I was really excited to watching it, and then for like it to be like, this is the one annoying thing about today is, it's like you don't have to go to a video store anymore, but why do things get pulled from streaming? Like, someone knows. I literally don't know.
Right.
Like, what's the logic behind it? Like, I mean, I would
actually, you know what? I never thought of it like that. Because, shit gets pulled and bounced around on streaming all the time. Just if only there was
like, I understand,
like, copy.
if Netflix is like, we have an exclusive deal with this, and so they're the only place that can stream Kill Bill for a while or something. But like, when it's just not online, and then Hollywood's like, oh, you pirate stuff. Well, maybe if we could find it, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah.
You know what grinds my gears?
God, going to the video store used to be one of the greatest moments as a kid.
It was, but I always think about it. Like, I really enjoyed it too, and I wish I could, in a lot of ways, go back to that. But at the same time, I mostly wouldn't. Like,
why not?
It's like,
I mean,
because I'm sat here and I'm like, I want to watch something, and I'm not gonna bother going to a video store if I can just pull it up.
Right, but what if it's Kill Bill and you can't?
Well, right, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's the one issue. But other than that, I mean, if I can pull it up and watch it at home, I won't.
But then,
So I understand
how else are
why
you going to get your popcorns and your theater snacks?
I could do DoorDash. I mean,
Yeah,
oh,
dude, that's right. See, you pissed off Brimstone with that. Even he felt that. Yeah, I agree.
he's being a pain. I played with him. I had his favorite toy. We were throwing it around, having a good time, and yet he's decided he's gonna butthole. 'Cause he's a butthole, and I live with a butthole.
Yes.
Oh God, I
Speaking of
forget what my
buttholes,
Behold Nerds pick was. Hopefully, it'll come back to me. I had one. I was all set to go. I was like, "We're gonna watch." Oh, I remember now. I'm gonna make sure it's
all right,
definitely
you can't, you
100%
can't tell
ready
me
to.
that yet. But while
Yeah, I
we're
won't. But I just want to double check to make sure it's actually.
while on the
Um,
subject of
yeah,
buttholes,
rent or buy. Perfect. Okay.
the new season of South Park, we're 3 episodes in. It's fucking amazing. They pissed off the Royals in episode 2, where they're threatening to Merkel and Prince Harry are threatening to sue Viacom over the South Park episode. Just
Okay, well, yeah, let's jump into nerdy news.
Yeah. No, but so, anyways, back to the butthole. So, the 3rd episode was so goddamn funny. I love the Randy episodes. Like, the kids are great, but Randy episodes are probably some of my favorite episodes in South Park. So, this is one where he just buys a really expensive Japanese toilet with a bidet, and it's just him flexing that on the town, and it's the funniest fucking thing. And then,
I don't understand why Americans are so anti-bidet. Like,
well, so
it,
that's
it
the thing. They talk about that, and it's one of those things where South Park actually came out and had a legitimate point. I mean, they always have a legitimate point, but they actually like express like, hey, there's this toilet paper industry that causes this much deforestation. This is all these statistics when y'all can just have a bidet.
yeah, well, it's not just that. Like, I always think if I had shit on my hand, right?
Right.
Would I just grab? Thanks, Kat. Would I just grab some dry paper and be like,
Right.
like dry, like wipe it off, and then just be like, "Yeah, that's clean." you know? No, I wouldn't.
Right.
I would use water. And so it's weird to me that Americans are so against what is a cleaner thing. You know what I mean? Like when I've been in Europe and I've tried the odd bidet, I use a combination of water and then a little bit of toilet paper to finish me.
Right.
And it's just you're much cleaner,
Just dab the chin. You're just dabbing the chin. Gross.
But yeah, it's a weird thing that I've met so many Americans and it's like the word bidet. Ooh, gross. And it's just like, are you serious? Like, because it's a lot cleaner, Like,
Right.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on bidet, people out there? Like,
so true story. This is 2 Septembers ago. There's this couple that sat at the bar, and it's funny because I read people. It's just one of my tricks. So out of nowhere, the lady just sort of has this big shit-eating grin on her face. Like she just found that thing that she wants to share with the world that changed her life. And I've seen this look before, and I have isolated it to this one uniquely specific thing that I called her out on. She's like, "Oh my God, you won't believe what I just found out about." And I said, "You found out about bidets, didn't you?" And she's like, "Oh my God, how did you know?" It's like you all have a look about you. It's like you found Jesus in a bowl of soup. So she said, "Oh my God, it's the greatest thing." And oh my God. And I said, "You know what? Everybody that's come to my bar, and I've had this conversation before, more times than I like to admit, and it all ends the same way. We're going to give you a year, and in a year we're going to come back, and you would have found Jesus in the bowl of soup. And it's been a year, and I have yet to find Jesus in the bowl of soup, but I don't know. The universe is speaking to me." One of my regulars has a bidet, And he said, "Yeah, it's
Those Japanese ones are super fancy because like they'll also like they use like soap, water, and
right."
then like talcum powder. Like you come out like better than you went in, you
Right.
know. Like,
Dude, it's on HBO Max. Just if anything, the 3 episodes are great so far. They're wonderful, but the third episode
yeah.
specifically
So
is the
jumping
funniest of
into
the three.
nerdy news, I mean, what you're talking about, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the lawsuit because HBO got the rights for South Park,
Mm,
and they were supposed to get 2 seasons or something like that.
right.
And then see it, but the thing is, like the South Park guys, they didn't in the wording that it wasn't like, oh, it's a 10 episode season or something like a standard thing.
Mm,
So the first season was 2 episodes, and the next season like only 2 episodes,
right.
and then the next season is like something like 3 or 4, and so like the they're like, what the hell? And
Yeah.
then it's going to go back to Paramount, who's promoting that, oh, we're the true home of South Park, and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And it's just like, so yeah, HBO's pissed off saying, like, they used, bad wording and everything. I mean, part of me is like, if you weren't smart enough to, like, be like, oh,
They're,
2 seasons, 10 episodes each or something, then it's
right.
kind of your own fault. But
Right.
I don't know. We'll see how the whole thing shakes out.
Like they paid lawyers to read that shit and draft that shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's true, but it is kind of cheesy to be like, "Hey, they never said how many episodes." You know what I
Right.
mean?
But
Let's make
that's
two.
something that only the South Park guys could get away with. Just by
Yeah.
I could see them being the only ones that can pull that off and just fuck off with their toys.
I mean, I heard that they wanted to stop making South Park for a long time now, but they decided they would go until like they get canceled, like because they went too far or something, and it just
Right.
hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Yeah.
It's wavered in previous years. I love South Park. It's one of my favorite shows. It's very their satire is delicious to me. I love it.
I like South Park. I mean, look, they're not subtle. They're about as subtle as Zack Snyder.
Right.
But I don't know. It's I haven't watched South Park in a long time. Not because I think it's bad or anything. I actually really like it. I don't know, like like when a show's been on a really long time, you just kind of move on to other things.
Yeah.
And that's it. But I mean, if I was hanging out with you and you're like South Park, I'd be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think The Simpsons captured it perfectly with their Poochie episode,
Right.
where like they were talking about, they showed all the kids that episode of Itchy and Scratchy, they all loved it, and then they were like, oh well, like what do you want from Itchy and Scratchy? And they're like, we want this and this. From Dave, it looks like we got a message. Hey, remember me? It's Rowan from Dave and Buster's. Oh, sounds like someone's talking to you, Cap.
Oh, it's Rowan from Dave and Buster's, the kid with the new graded comic book. Oh,
Welcome,
yeah,
Rowan from Dave and Buster's.
yes, I remember you. Holy smokes, you found the channel. Well, we are having some chat issues. Hold on one second. Let me just set right there. It's about as good as I can get it for now. I think the problem is we should have it, instead of horizontally, we should have it vertically.
It's not a problem. If you want, I can mess with that. I'm pretty good with setting up those chat boxes.
Yeah. So if this is the human I'm remembering, Rowan has come into my bar a couple times with graded comics. There's a comic book shop that's in the Spectrum. Has some pretty cool stuff. A lot of interesting graded comics. Has a big like Mark Ruffalo Hulk statue. No, Edward Norton Hulk. I'm sorry, Edward Norton Hulk. In the front, it's a neat little store. But they sell a lot of graded comics, and this kid has come to my bar and has showed me his pickings. That's cool, man. What'd you get?
Well, welcome, by the way, to the show. We appreciate you stopping by and saying hi.
Yes.
Sorry about the chat box. We've been having issues with that for a while. I'll mess with it later. So Well, also, I just thought jumping into other news going forward. Have you heard about the new TMNT animated movie?
The one by Joe Rogan.
Seth
Oh,
Rogen.
sorry, Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen. Sorry, not Joe. Yeah, Seth Rogen. Seth
We
Rogen
got
is my ideal Mario voice in my head. If I read any
yeah.
Mario, it is in his voice. Period.
People keep saying they want him for the thing. I just don't see it. Um, he's not. He's nothing like Ben Grimm.
But it's the
He's like
voice.
nothing. Like he's as
But
far
he's an
removed.
actor.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
again, like oh, let's have Tom Holland play Kratos. The
He's an
but anyway,
actor.
so we got a 6-minute teaser trailer of it. Looks like they're or 6 minutes, 6 seconds, or something like that. It looks like Shush Cat. It looks like they're doing kind of like a more old school thing. They look smaller. They're not these huge jacked Michael Bay monsters.
Mm.
Um, and then we also released the cast. So I got some notes here. Io Adipri as April O'Neil, Jackie Chan as Splinter. Um,
Eh.
an actor I've never heard of is Baxter Stockman. He probably has something. I'm not great with names. John Cena as Rocksteady.
No shit.
Yeah.
Ah.
Hannibal Buress as Genghis Frog.
Ooh yeah.
Seth Rogen as Bebop. Rose Byrne
Perfect.
as Leatherhead. Natasha Dimitri as Wingnut. We also got a basic description of the plot. In Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, after years of being sheltered from the human world, the Turtle Brothers set out to win the hearts of New Yorkers and be accepted as normal teenagers through heroic acts. Their new friend April O'Neil helps them take on a mysterious crime syndicate, but soon they get in over the heads when an army of mutants is unleashed upon them.
I dig it.
Yeah, it
I
sounds
dig it.
kind of cool. Gosh.
You know what? It sounds like a more introspective Ninja Turtles, because it's the boys wanting to learn how to be accepted among the people. So it's probably going to be like them learning how to be human.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the point of the last Michael Bay movie, right? Though coming out of the shadows or whatever.
And they're coming out of the shell tour. Remember that one? Yes.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Nightmare fuel. I love
the one like someone if you watch like they went on like Oprah or something, and you can actually pull this YouTube clip up, and someone in the audience asked like, "Oh, are there any relations between the turtles?" and they made this super sexually suggestive thing, and like you can just see this like kid in the audience like, what the hell? And it is kind of like, yeah.
So what's cool
Awkward.
is fellow nerd Dan. I let him borrow issues 2 and 3 of Last Ronin. Seems to really be enjoying it. So I'm looking forward to his feedback.
Yeah, it's a good comic. He mentioned last week we talked about it briefly. He really liked issue 1. I liked it. I thought it was a good comic. But yeah, so this movie, it definitely sounds kind of. I kind of thought when I saw the animation for it, it reminded me a little bit of Claymation.
Tiny bit.
It's got the same frame rate as what was the last animated Spider-Man movie?
Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got the same frame rate as that, so it also kind of reminded me of that. Looks promising. I mean, it's. Oh, the other thing I thought was interesting is they hired. I have no idea who these kids are, but they hired a bunch of like actual teenagers to play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's perfect.
Yeah, so
that's perfect. That's perfect. That's it. I don't want to hear Andrew Garfield's voice out of Michelangelo or Tom Holland's
Jackie
voice.
Chan was an interesting choice for Master Splinter.
No, God, you guys, you fucked up. Get Pedro Pascal to be Splinter. He's permanent. That is his voice now on in my
I
head.
don't know. I
Pedro
mean, like,
Pascal.
I think Jackie Chan, if Pedro Pascal, I think if he starts doing the traditional Splinter voice, is a little problematic. Have Jackie Chan do it. He already sounds like that.
What do you mean, Frosty? What do you mean by
I'm
he
not
already?
going there and go away, Tucker Carlson. You're not welcome here. Anywho,
But honestly, though, I love how Turtles is this is one of those franchises where I'm okay with it being generational because though there have been versions of the Turtles that we might not have liked, they've all been pretty solid,
sort of.
consistently
I
throughout.
mean, I thought it was there. I was watching. Oh, there's a show on Netflix. I forgot what it's called, but one of the characters is watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Mm.
and they're using modern day slang. They're like, "Yas, Queen," and all this stuff. And this guy's like, "This is still on." Like, it just cracks me up. Like,
That's funny. God.
um,
So really quick, the Turtles were huge. Toy aisle. There was a whole toy aisle just dedicated to turtles, and then their figures are weird, but they were interesting. And I remember one day, Mom and I were at Target, and on the end cap, it blew my fucking mind. It was when they had the figures that transformed into the vehicles.
oh
So
yeah.
it's like here's Shredder, and he transforms into one of like the drill cars. There's a crowd of kids. We're freaking out over this. I run to my mom's like, "Mom, you have to see this shit." And she's like, "Oh my god, that's the coolest fucking thing." I think I still have them, but good gravy. And it was cool because there's so many Ninja Turtles. It was rare for, aside from like the main ones, it was rare for any kid to have the same Ninja Turtle. Like it always seemed like a good mix-up, at least within my circle of friends.
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought they were pretty cool. They put a lot of detail into them for the time. But honestly, I don't know. I was never huge on the turtles outside of the comics. I think I don't know. The show was fine. I never got the craze though.
Mm.
I had moved on to other shows. I watched it though, just because it was on. You know?
It blew up my head. I love the Turtles. The game was miserable, but
I
good.
liked the game, like except I never got past the water stage, of course.
Of course. So
Um,
the thing with Ninja Turtles, like, I remember when the arcade cabinet came out, the 4-player,
that was
and
great.
and we didn't have the internet back then, so the word on the street was the liquor store over here was getting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet for 25 cents. It was the cabinet. My cousins and I, we went there. There's a big fucking group of kids huddled in this freaking liquor store around this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. It blew our fucking minds back then. It was wonderful. The Turtles.
Yeah. I don't know. The show was just a big joke, though. They never used their weapons, all that stuff.
Yeah,
But,
everything was a robot.
and
Yes.
and the thing is, so I saw that, and then my brother, he was like, "You should read the comic. Here it is." And in that one, like, they're forcing Shredder to Harry carry himself in episode 1. Like I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And so, because of that, the show always seemed inferior to me.
Mm.
But yeah, that's just my opinion. Uh, so let's see what else we got in the news. Captain America: New World Order. So someone pointed out it's using 2 Hulk villains, Leader and Thunderbolt Ross. So people are speculating what this means for Bruce Banner. Does he have a bigger role? Is he going to be in it? All that stuff.
Right.
I would be down. They've definitely. A lot of people didn't like how the MCU handled the Hulk recently. I liked it personally, and I liked what they did with She-Hulk. They expanded it. We got to see his sadness about losing Stark,
friend. Right.
And yeah, I think and then obviously has a son now. And then it's a good point out is that the Leader and Thunderbolt Ross. I really, really want Red Hulk. I really, really want Red Hulk.
Mm.
I like Red Hulk a lot. I just think he looks so cool.
Right.
Um, and so yeah, I'd be really down for
It's
that.
just going to be Harrison Ford's CGI'd face on on the red body.
Well, I
Yes.
mean, hopefully they do more like what they did with Mark
Well,
Ruffalo, where it's
I
like
know.
a true merger. Shut up! I know, but you gotta shut up. We're doing the
They're
show.
going to capture Harrison Ford's just
Shut up.
rugged cheekbones. It would be wonderful.
Boy, he's being a butthole.
Cats are buttholes.
Yeah, but he's just such a jerk.
Yeah, cats
You
are
want me to pick
jerks.
him up? So Spider-Man 4
Mm.
is confirmed to be in development as part of the MCU, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Because they kind of tied everything
Pulled it
up with the
apart.
last one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here's
and
the
so,
symbiote. Go.
yeah, and so well, like you know what I mean? They're like, oh, everybody forgot who Peter Parker was, so he's no longer. They didn't have to make him part of the MCU.
Right.
And I was reading that they were pulling him out of the MCU and
Mhm.
they were returning him to their home.
Right.
But no, it's going to be part of the MCU. I loved No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, fellow nerd, I always forget your at Rob0797. We talked to him before White Owl. He asked me what my three favorite MCU films were, and yeah, No Way.
Oop, did we lose you? I think we lost Frosty. Here, we're going to be right back. We're going to get Frosty. Hey guys, sorry about that. I know I'm in Frosty's square now, but Frosty's internet dropped. We're going to be right back. There we go. Sorry about that, kids. Little internet hiccup. Everything good?
Yeah, my Wi-Fi literally dropped across the entire all my computers were like, nope. Um, Anywho,
Anyway, where
uh,
were we?
well, the last thing I was talking about was oh, Captain America: New World Order. So yeah, we're definitely getting those two Hulk villains. And then I was saying I would really like Red Hulk. He's one of my favorite Hulks. But yeah, I think that would be cool to include him in that. Oh, Spider-Man 4. That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
So it's been confirmed to be in development. Yeah, I thought they were going to pull it and just do Sony, but yeah, we're definitely getting Spider-Man 4. No Way Home was one of my favorite MCU movies. I thought it was a perfect comic book movie in a lot of ways.
A wonderful movie. And then Spider-Verse just a hair underneath it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they're both really, really good.
Yeah.
It's just, one's got a certain style and another one's got another style. And again, I mean, that's cool. It's like we're getting two Batman soon, we're getting the kind of grounded Robert Pattinson Batman, and then we're getting the more.
Well, I'm sure they're going to tie it into the overall just multiversal thing. So.
Well, they're doing Elseworld. Which makes sense. I mean, I'm fine with Elseworld,
Yeah. But do you think we will see the symbiote in Spider-Man 4?
Oh, really? We're supposed to get symbiotes?
Oh, no. They introduced the symbiote in the MCU, so.
Sort of, with that post-credits thing. I mean...
Yeah. You know what I hope they do is they just cut straight forward to Flash Thompson Venom and just kind of go that route. I'd rather see that. Just skip the Spider-Man thing. Like, tie Spider-Man in. Maybe he doesn't get the black suit, but... I don't know.
You like Flash Thompson Venom?
I think because we already have Venom, why have that same character in the MCU? And they already introduced Flash Thompson as this guy. I mean, I guess he's true to Spider-Man, but I don't know. I'd rather see that.
Okay, I mean,
in the MCU. Enough. That's it.
The thing, okay, so like I'm not trying to be, because I'm totally open to different interpretations of characters.
Plus, he's also been on the Guardians, so you can have him pop in. There you go. I'm
writing for you. I thought Flash Thompson was a fine Venom, sure. It's just my favorite, like one of my all-time favorite comic books was when they were doing those limited series runs of Venom the Lethal Protector. And so that is, to me, the best Venom. Eddie Brock, Lethal Protector, like Sinner Takes All. That's one of the coolest runs I've ever read. Did you read that one by any chance?
I didn't read those.
It was awesome. The plot was someone takes on the mantle of Sin Eater again, and Eddie Brock, and so it's this kind of like religious nut with grenades and machine guns and rocket launchers fighting Venom. And Venom's wife is involved, and she puts on the suit briefly.
Nice.
It's just such a good, like, I love it. Like, he's talking, like, Sin Eater's making all these Bible verses and stuff. And then he's like, you I kill because you're a spawn of Satan. And then he's like, this is a law rocket. And it's like in things, light anti-tank thing. And you just see the rocket in the reflection of Venom's eyes and stuff. And it was cool. Like, he gets shot point blank in the head, and I love that it's kind of a flip. You have this guy talking about eating brains and ripping out spinal cords and drinking the fluid, and he's got teeth and a giant tongue.
Right.
That's the good guy,
right?
The guy going around talking about Jesus is the bad guy.
Like, just don't say that too loud, or else you'll offend the wrong people. If there's I'm sure it's in a trade or something. I could pick it up at some point.
Yeah, it's a cool run, but they did for a long time. They were doing these Lethal Protector miniseries, and each one a different artist and a different writer was able to put their own spin on it. But there was a kind of unifying aspect to the whole thing, and I don't know. I thought it was excellent. Some were better than others, but they were cool. Like Venom the Hunger, the symbiote he went around saying, "I want to eat your brains."
Yeah.
And well, he hit this guy. And he was going through this problem, like he couldn't find anything that
Right.
would sustain him.
Right.
And then he punched this guy, and his skull cracked.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "What's that?" And then he like actually finds himself eating brains. And then Eddie Brock is like horrified as to what he did.
Right.
And he was like, "It was always just a joke." But it turns out symbiotes, there's a chemical in human brain that
Yeah.
symbiotes actually like crave.
It's like chocolate to them.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And so like
That I do know.
so it was an interesting run. Or Venom the Madness, he gets so powerful he can like go toe to toe with Juggernaut.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's because he got this weird cancer stuff and he goes like completely insane. Like, you know what I mean? It was a fun time. That was definitely peak childhood me collecting comics.
Nice.
So yeah, that's why Flash Gordon will never compare. But I mean, Flash Thompson.
Oh, I'm just saying, for the MCU's sake, if they were to try to differentiate themselves from, was it Tom Hardy?
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Tom Hardy. I mean,
it was weird.
I don't know. I would love this like roided out fucking Black Spider-Man going around talking about eating brains and ripping out spinal cords.
Right.
In the MCU. I just think that would be dope,
That'd be great.
And so yeah, but that's what I want. If they do something different, as long as it's good, I'm fine.
Right.
I always say that. So again, I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. What else? James Gunn and Peter Safran. They want this. This is interesting. They said they want the DCU to be more like Star Wars than the MCU. Direct quote: "We're also creating a universe that is like Star Wars, where there are different times, different places, different things, and I guess like Game of Thrones, where characters are a little bit more morally complex." So they are trying to make their own thing, versus it's not going to be, people are like, "Oh, they're just trying to redo the MCU."
No.
It doesn't sound like it.
No.
Honestly, I'm surprised at all these people that are still hating on it. Everything that he said sounds awesome.
Right. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to come down to the execution.
Of course.
But I mean, they're taking inspiration from great writers. It sounds like they're differentiating themselves from the MCU. I mean, yeah, I like everything.
Yeah, just shut up and take my money. I can't wait. You're right. Nothing that they have said about this has been any red flags in my head. It all sounds perfect. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super looking forward to it.
Hold on. So really quick, and this goes into something that we talk about a lot in our nerd chat, is Ant-Man Quantumania has out box officed Black Adam in its 2-week run than Black Adam did in its entire run. So
yeah, people were saying Quantumania isn't doing well, but it already in its first week and it surpassed the other two Ant-Man movies.
Right.
It did have a huge drop off, but I was reading this thing about industry and analysts, and they were saying that it's because of the nature of the MCU.
Right.
People go within that first weekend.
Right. It's front heavy.
Yeah, it's very front heavy.
Right.
And the thing is, like, they have a loyal following.
Right.
And so, like, pretty much any MCU movie comes out, I'm like, yep, I'm gonna go see it.
Right.
And the part of the reason people go in that first weekend is also because spoilers are up immediately.
Right.
And so people want to avoid that as much as possible.
Right.
So yeah, it's doing well. They've already like beaten their like international and global and everything. They've already gotten their money back. So yeah, people are saying this movie's failing. It didn't have a great critical score, but I mean, so it's doing good with audiences.
Right. People saw the movie. They don't care about the opinions. so long as the money is there.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, that's true of everything. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
I think it's a great movie. I feel like the Ant-Man movies are underappreciated because they're
Yeah.
great little movies. Like so much so that I didn't see the first one in the theaters. I trust bought it, so I bought it sight unseen, plopped it in, watched it. I fucking loved it. I loved it a lot more than I thought I would.
Also, I like Scott Lang because he's kind of the everyman of the MCU.
Mm,
You know what I mean? The others are much greater, but he's just a guy.
right.
I liked also how his character wasn't in this one anyway, wasn't concerned about saving the world. He was just concerned about saving his family,
Right.
which I find is relatable.
Small stakes, big stakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, this is kind of jumping off topics real quick, but someone pointed this out, and I do think this could be a problem in the MCU. So this Kang that we met in this movie, that's got to be the villain. If they at the end they showed all these other Kangs,
Right.
I don't know those Kangs.
Right.
I don't want them to be the villain. You know, I want this Kang to be my villain. You know,
Right.
and I hope it's not every movie this phase is like there's a
different
new
Kang.
Kang.
Right.
Yeah, because that would get old real fast. You
Right.
know.
Here's Fly Fishing Kang.
Yeah.
Here's Cowboy Hat Kang.
Exactly. and I mean the problem is like I don't know them. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is the one that you gave me a backstory for, the one that I was interested in.
Right.
This has got to be our villain.
Right.
But as far as I understand, this is the one that they were talking about on Loki. So yeah. I don't know. I just hope that's not the case. Because I thought he was a great villain. Scary.
Good.
I mean, the fact that he shows up like you're gonna do what I want, or I'm gonna torture your daughter over and over and over again and make you watch. It's horrifying.
Right.
But you also know he's not bluffing. He was just gonna do it.
Right.
And they nailed his technology because his technology was so advanced it appeared magical.
Right.
Kind of reminded me of when they introduced Thor. And they were like, oh, these aren't gods, these are really advanced aliens, but that's why it appears like magic.
Right.
Which they've gone back on, and they're just like, yeah, they're gods, yeah. You know?
See, I have that woven into my quantum project. Is that you have different tiers of technological development where you have like a Type 3 civilization. Their tech would look beyond magical to us because it's just incomprehensible what they're capable of doing. I loved it when it was that, but no, they're just gods.
Well, I kind of prefer just having them as just gods. I think the MCU's been around long enough that it's earned its ability just to go, look at this crazy shit now.
Right.
And you see people complaining, like someone was like, oh, I wish Iron Man's helmet still went zoop instead of just like, but it's like the universe has progressed. You know what I mean? It needs to move on to these like greater and greater things,
more weirder things, right?
Yeah, and also it's great because if you pick up a comic, you just accept this stuff. And I feel like now we're at a point with the movies where I can just watch one of these movies and I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, one thing people complain about in Quantum Mania is so I saw someone say that, oh, that's like a 90s plot where Michelle Pfeiffer's character touches the ship and then she gets the visions and everything. Thing is, I feel like anybody that reads the comics realized that, oh, the ship is his chair and it connects to his mind.
Right.
So that does make sense, you know what I mean? And that's totally just something, if you read that in a comic, you wouldn't blink twice.
Right.
But it's like people get all like and when they're talking about the movie. Yeah, like it's like they want that kind of more grounded movie, but like no, take me to the stars, man.
Right? Like exactly. Just it should feel alien to us. What you have to. It should look foreign. We shouldn't. It should be beyond our comprehension. That's what makes them scary.
It's like Love and Thunder. Like people are like, shit on that movie a lot, but like you're watching like a freaking Viking ship get pulled by goats across a rainbow bridge through the cosmos while Guns N' Roses plays.
Right.
That's awesome. Like,
yeah.
and it's like that's something we're not going to see very often. Enjoy it,
like embrace it when it happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's completely unique,
Right.
Um, it's like it's like a album art come to life,
Right.
Uh, anywho, but back to James Gunn, Pete Safran. So yeah, it sounds cool. I'm interested in a more Star Wars like universe. They definitely should differentiate themselves from the MCU.
Right. Just
If you're just gonna
go
do the same
cosmic,
thing,
just go really hard on the cosmic scheme of things early on, and then tie it to Earth. Like,
yeah. Well, it sounds like he's jumping around. I mean, like we're getting, for example, Paradise Lost, I think is what it's called. The Themyscira show,
right.
where it's like Game of Thrones, and then we're getting Batman with Damien, so that's gonna have like the League of Assassins and ninjas and shit. And then we're gonna go over here and we're gonna have Superman, and it's gonna be based off of what do you call it? Or Alan or Grant Morrison's Superman. So that's going to be Alien, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's cool. Like, yeah, don't be afraid to jump around. I think Star Wars is good because it's a good matchup of all that stuff.
right.
You've got like very fantasy elements and stuff in this kind of sci-fi universe.
Yeah,
and yeah, I'm down. I think that'll be a good thing. Good thing.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Also, so Hellboy reboot movie. It's going to be called The Crooked Man.
Yes.
And they've cast their lead actor. It's the guy who played what's his name? Black. Oh.
So I saw this, but I didn't recognize the dude.
He's in Deadpool 2. He played Black something or other, and he dies. Remember, Cable shoots him, and then Deadpool's like, "You killed Black, blah blah. That's racist." Even though it's a white guy,
right? Okay.
So yeah, it's, he was also in The Strain. Jack Kessie is his name.
Right. He's moving up in the world. Good for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, those are two prominent things he's been in. But yeah, having your own movie, obviously.
Right.
Did you watch The Strain at all? Did you like it?
No, I didn't watch The Strain.
It was it's a vampire show. It's like a vampire apocalypse show. I liked it up until I think it was like season 2. There's a nuke, and this kid's got it, and then his mom dies, and he's like, "Well, my mom died." And I'm like, really? Like, I know your mom died and you're a kid, but like your mom was a vampire that wanted to eat you. Like, like
context,
so that's
kid, context.
Yeah, that triggers you hard enough to set off a nuke. Like, everything was done, everything was wrapped up, the world was saved, and then this kid nukes everything, and like I'm just like, too dumb. Sorry.
Like, the one vampire show that I watched was the Blade series when that came out. It was out for I think like maybe 1 or 2 seasons.
That
was good. I remember the first season being good. I don't remember there being a second season, but that was good.
Yeah, well, Strain I really enjoyed up until that point. It felt kind of forced, like they were trying to find a reason to let the bad guy go so that the show could continue. And yeah, and I couldn't buy it, and I got sick of this little kid character. Anywho, that's really all I have. I do have one last thing. So next week, March 12th, we will have a special guest on our show at Right Peaceful, creator of Stargazer Comics.
Yes.
We will be so we'd love to have comic creators on. We'll be discussing his comic, and it sounds like he'll be joining us to discuss news and our Behold Nerds pick. We probably won't have time for Battle Nerds, but we'll see where we land. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Really appreciate him coming on the show. If you go on our Twitter, you can find the link to his Kickstarter. I think Indiegogo. I can't remember, but I funded him because I was trying, do so. Really looking forward to it. Looks like an awesome comic. I know you, Cap. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it yet,
I haven't had a chance to
but
look at it yet. Today is my day to do everything.
it definitely looks like something you would enjoy with your sci-fi background.
Yes.
But yeah,
I know.
you got anything else for us in the news?
Thirsty for new sci-fi. Like,
yeah, I like sci-fi comics.
Yeah,
I really do.
Just, no, that was about it. You kind of hit everything on the head that I wanted to talk about.
All right, cool. So what do you want to jump into next?
I don't know. Ooh, shall we talk about the dreamy Pedro Pascal? Yes.
All right. Which of the dreamy Pedro Pascal's shows where he escorts a child would you like to discuss?
One's a lot more fresh in my head than the other, but we can do let's do the gritty, just dour, cold, merciless apocalypse. Let's do that.
So the Mandalorian it is.
Yes.
All right. So Last of Us episode 7, titled Left Behind, which is also the title of the DLC. So anybody that played the DLC probably recognizes this. I did not play the DLC, but I heard about it. Came out. We've only got 2 episodes left, so it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. Basically, the episode is Joel is injured. Ellie's trying to stitch him up. Joel's like, get out of here. And then she considers it. And then most of the episode is set in a flashback with her and her friend Riley. We meet Ellie when she was, what are they called?
Fireflies.
Fireflies is the other group, the one that she was a part of. I can't remember.
Oh, like the
Fedra, yeah. So
Fedra.
She's part of Fedra.
That just sounds evil.
Her friend Riley left and came back. Turns out she's a Firefly. She grabs Ellie and says, come on, I'm going to show you the most amazing night of your life. They go to an abandoned mall.
Right.
And it is interesting because it definitely looked like one of the best nights of her life. We could see Ellie's wonder. And then you see how it ends. The show is great at that because you actually feel joy, and then it punches you in the dick.
Right. It feeds you, and then it just yanks it away from you. And it's so good how it... But that makes you appreciate the episode more. You get to see the mall through the eyes of kids who'd never seen a mall before. And
so they did
awesome.
The 4 wonders, and then but she was like just blown away by the escalator, you know.
Right. But good grief, they got to play Mortal Kombat 2. Now, if you paid attention in Ellie's room, there's a Mortal Kombat 2 picture or poster, so we got that payoff.
Well, we also in another episode they went into like a liquor store, like an abandoned, and she immediately sees a Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet and runs over to it.
Right.
And it's not working and stuff, obviously. But yeah. So it's something they've shown us a couple of times. Yeah.
Right. But it's little silly character things like that just kind of sprinkled about that just kind of help bring the character together. And it sort of has its payoff in this mall where she actually gets to play this game. And it's awesome. Plus, it's an old arcade. Like that's true to my heart.
I mean, like we have to talk about the set design. This abandoned mall looked amazing.
Glorious.
Like,
everything
did they film this in an actual abandoned mall? I don't know. And the fact that I don't know is what makes it so amazing. It looked exactly like you would imagine an abandoned mall.
Having explored several abandoned malls in my urban exploring career, they captured it. And it's I don't know, and I was thinking that when I was watching it, is this a set or did they actually find locations?
The set design is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
The arcade, all the stuff, the carousel, everything. Like as far as that was concerned, I was blown away by it.
Right.
So like I mean. Spoilers, by the way, we should have said that a while ago. But so it turns out that there's an infected in the mall, It attacks them. They both get bitten.
Right.
And then it ends with them facing their own mortality,
Mm.
and it kind of cliffhangs there. Um, with then coming back to the real world, Ellie shows up and she decides she's going to help Joel,
Right.
and so she starts trying to sew him up. Um, the so if we remember, she said that they like, oh, I've killed somebody before and blah
Mm.
blah blah. Is
Is
that the person that she killed? I
right.
mean, because they
Oof.
were going to lay together and wait to lose their minds,
Right.
and but we know she's immune, so it's. I'm guessing she had to kill her own best friend on the best night of her. Or what was the best night of her
Right.
life?
Oh, just
I
let that
mean,
sink. Let it sink
yeah, and
in. Just let it sink in.
it's
It's
crazy to
so
think
good.
about. I
It's
mean,
so good. So good. Both the best night of her life and worst night of her life all crammed into one experience. Great. Oh, I want more. More. I hope we don't have to go
yeah,
like 3 years between
it's
seasons. That's going to be a shame.
so. My thought is, having played the game, and I tried to keep it as separate as possible.
Right.
But they only got 2 episodes left, so is this going to end in a cliffhanger, or are they going to try and finish the first game? And if so, how are they going to pull that off in just 2 episodes?
See, there's only 2 games. I don't think. I think they're going to stretch this out for a few seasons to get all that sweet, sweet Pedro Pascal money. Um,
Okay.
it's just, if it were me, I would do tell the first game and maybe 2 seasons. Just kind of give it some fluff, let it breathe a little bit, and then do 2 more seasons to do the second game.
Is that what you think is going to happen,
No,
or is that
that's what I would do if I had keys to the kingdom.
what do you think they're going to do though?
Cliffhanger.
Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah, you think they're going to
cliffhanger.
spread it out
Yeah,
across?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like they've got a lot of ground to cover in just two episodes,
Right.
but I don't know. I mean, I'm undecided as to which way I think they're going to go. I do trust them. This has been excellent.
Hmm.
So it's just one of the shows I keep telling everybody you gotta watch, you gotta watch, you gotta watch.
Right.
So yeah, I'm totally down.
Shut up and take my money.
Um,
Such a great show.
yeah, I mean, this episode just should have been taking my money. The whole show's been that way.
Right. Like nonstop. Now, my only fear is that they start doing what Walking Dead did, where it's just give it a bunch of filler. Just keep shoveling filler. Make sure we have as much padding around Daryl to not piss off the kids. Just have it be the Daryl show and just
But
deviate it
that's the
so
problem
far.
with a long running series, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you keep this tight and you just do it in 1 or 2 seasons,
Right.
then I think oftentimes you get a better quality show.
Right.
Things like sitcoms work better for long running shows, but
Mm,
like things where you're trying to tell a story,
right.
you know what I mean? Like, I think keep it tight and move on.
Right.
Yeah, I want more, but at the same time, I don't want what you just said to happen. I don't want it to end up with like, hey, this week we're taking on this bad guy. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that. Yeah,
Yeah. No villain of the week. Like,
yeah,
the show's good at handling both villain of the week while still maintaining a good overarching narrative. Was X Files. X Files did a wonderful job at that because they'd have really fun monster of the weeks, but it's still, even the filler episodes were some of the more fun episodes, and then it
yeah.
tied back
I
in.
don't know. I think X Files was great for its time. I think that now I've moved past that. Like, if a show like that came out, like Stranger Things, for example, is
Mm,
kind of like X Files. When they wanted it to come out, they were like, "We're going to tell this story,"
mm,
and but they had a hard time getting someone to buy it
mm,
because, like I forget which company. They're like, "Oh, well, why don't we do a show with a small town sheriff who solves mysteries every week?" And
mm-hmm.
they wanted that to be like the show because they want that long running show.
Right.
I don't know. I think miniseries are a good way to go, or just keeping it down to a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, I think we moved past that style of TV. I mean, you are right. X Files is always fun, but even X Files got silly after a while. You know, like
So one of my favorite episodes of the X Files, and it's stupid, but they captured it. Like it was the episode where it was the cops X Files crossover.
that's my favorite crossover too. Yes, my favorite.
It's my favorite goddamn episode of the X Files. Period. It's stupid, but the thing is, when X Files goes just air quotes stupid, they go hard, and that's what makes it good because they don't flinch in their execution.
What's hilarious, right? So I got a funny story about that episode. I'm sitting in a university in England,
right,
and I'm with my friends, and then the cop starts playing, and I start singing along because I know the song. I'm like,
right.
Bad boys, bad boys.
What
And yeah,
you
exactly. How'd you man gonna take you no bidet or whatever it is?
Right.
But the funny thing is, right? So because I'm in England, the two people I'm with have no idea what Cops is. So I'm like, oh, you guys don't know Cops, and so I'm like telling them all about the show Cops, and I'm like, yeah, they follow the police around, and then it goes in the. I don't know I'm watching X Files,
right?
And so I'm like I'm watching. I'm watching an episode of Cops,
right?
And then all of a sudden the car gets flipped. So we're watching. I'm talking about how like the show Cops, telling him about it. I'm like,
right.
And then like he's like, oh, it's a dog, and like you see this giant scratch mark, and then the car gets flipped. We all went silent because I was just like, oh my god.
Hell?
And then the X Files thing comes in, and it was like, oh, like, it was the coolest thing. They did such a good job at that. That's why that's my favorite episode.
It is so good, but it's a filler episode, but good gravy. When they go hard with the silly, like another good episode, Mulder's Day Off. It's the talking doll episode. Mulder has vacation time, like, and he's forced into taking vacation time. He just has no idea what to do with himself, so he's just faking chores around the house, and he's trying to, like, still talk to Scully because she's on assignment. She's dealing with a killer doll, but she'd call him. It's like, hey, what are you doing? It's like, oh, I'm working on a windowsill, and it's just him bouncing a basketball. It's funny.
Yeah, and they're great when you like a show,
right?
And they come out and you really like the characters, it can be a lot of fun to have episodes where it's a break from what you normally see.
Right.
And like, yeah, like we talked about this when we did the Inuyasha versus Wolverine battle. I love Inuyasha. There was episodes of Inuyasha where they're just like, hey, let's go to the real world. And I'm watching Kagome go to school and talk to her friends about her boyfriend Inuyasha and everything. Sounds super lame to anybody else. I was like, this is great shit, you know? Right. Because it was hilarious, and they meet him and stuff, and yeah, I loved it. I was just super happy to do this. There is bad filler though,
right?
Which most filler is,
right?
But sometimes you get episodes where you're just like, this is great. Yeah, let's explore this for a while.
Right.
Anyway, I don't think that would work with The Last of Us.
No.
But yeah, just shut up and take
my money. Take my money. God, okay. Beautifully shot.
Yeah,
just great shot.
Episode. Holy Can't wait to see the next one. So The Mandalorian, season 3 premiere.
Yes.
Episode 1, The Apostate. Really cool. Basically, Din Djarin goes on a new quest of redemption to atone for his removing a helmet and showing his face to Grogu.
Right.
We also get an opening scene, which I thought was dope. We see that the Mandalorians are still surviving.
Right. They have the helmet ceremony for this kid. He's getting baptized.
Yeah, you know what made me laugh though? They put the helmet on him,
and then you hear
noise. Hear the and you like it's like sealing him off from the world. You see his hair just sticking out the back.
I noticed that too. It's okay. It works because it's Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean you're right.
It
Is Star
compression
Wars.
molds around your chin right here, so everything from here down, it's exposed. It's fine, but it seals you off right here.
Yeah, and their hair just hanging out the back. Like, uh, but anyway, then a giant beast attacks, and
Right.
then they're all fighting it, and it's awesome. They're flying around, pew pew pew.
Right.
And
You get
then
to see all
then we
the toys, and I like the heavy. I like the
yeah.
heavy Mandalorian guy with the big fucking tri laser. Just pew, pew, pew,
But
pew.
yeah, then we had that little Mandalorian like, and then his ship
The ship
comes
comes.
in, and then yeah, it's super cool.
Proton
Little
torpedoes.
Grogu's like, "What's up, everybody?" I mean, I was just like, it was like the perfect way to start the episode.
Right.
I was immediately sucked in. I was like, "This is awesome. This is
Uh,
exactly what I want."
right.
But yeah, so he talks to them. They're like, "Oh, you're not a Mandalorian."
Yeah,
And
God,
then
she
he's
was
like,
pissed too. Like he just saved their ass. Like you are a Mandalorian, no more.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, well, you got to do this." And he's like, "What if I can?" And so, but then we go and revisit. I forget what that town's called, but the town that's been the
Yeah.
big town for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And we see how much stuff has changed.
Right. This reminds me of any one of our D&D campaigns where we find a town, like for at one point it was Daggerford in one of our campaigns, where we just pick a town and it becomes our town. That's what this feels like. It's become Mando's town, and he's got his buddies running the place, and you can see how it's flourishing. It's cool. But we get we find out what happened to Cara Dune.
Yeah, obviously they handled that with my planet needs me now.
Yes.
But I think at least for me, like this whole episode seemed to be, let's return to where we once were.
Right.
Show how much everything has grown.
Mm-hmm.
Use Book of Boba Fett and those couple of episodes, as well as what happened in Book of Boba Fett, to show you everything that's progressed.
Right.
And now, so that's the groundwork out of the way. Here's this new adventure.
Right.
Because the last adventure's over. And they even address it because he's talking with the guy, and he's like, oh yeah. He's like, well, you still got the critter with you. Yeah, and he's like, oh, I got a new thing, and this is what I'm gonna do. Right. And I like how Grogu's just like, yep, Grogu's with me now.
He's just spinning himself in the chair.
Yeah, the chair. But yeah, it was great. I love that they brought it back to the beginning. Navarro, that's what it's
Navarro, called. Yeah.
They brought it back to the beginning by showing how Navarro's progressed. But then, okay, let's go on this new adventure. So he goes to like Mandalore, or at least one of the planets around it.
Yeah.
And the what's her name is sat in like a throne.
Yeah.
I mean, the way it's shot looks cool, and like the way she's laying and the way it walks in, and she's like this queen of a castle, but like everybody's left.
Yeah, no subjects.
And it's all over the dark saber, which he carries now. Which is awesome. I mean, the show is high fantasy set in space,
right?
With armored guys and guns, and it's so good. And then you've got the samurai western influence. It's exactly what I want from my Star Wars.
Right?
Exactly.
It's mwah.
Yeah.
The only thing that bothered me, I love how they had IG-11 and they built a statue to him. It's like, I need that droid. It's like he got blown up to pieces. There was a lot of pieces there. A lot more pieces than I would expect. But they go.
I was fine. I even love the little bit of Star Warsiness where it's like
the little Muppet dudes doing
the little Muppet dudes. They're like, I can fix them. I need memory chip and stuff like that, And Mando's just like crouched in there, and then
right.
What's his name? Is like hugs the little guy.
Right.
Yeah,
it was great.
It's like it reminds me of Yoda and things like that.
Yeah,
like I said, it's perfect Star Wars. It's They nailed it. It's the best Star Wars since the trilogy, with the possible exception of Andalore. But I
Andor.
feel like, yeah, I think that Andor. Sorry, I think that was its own thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's different.
It's
That
still Star Wars, but
it's still Star Wars and it's still great.
it's a different kind of Star
This
Wars.
is my classic Star Wars. You know,
Right. Right.
and yeah, and the fact that it's good as well, and just like little things like the music timing in, making him look like a badass. He feels like a gunslinger. You know what I
So
mean?
you know what Andor did is that if you think of Star Wars in terms of layers, Andor gave us like the canvas for which all these greater heroes can have their adventures on. You see the ramifications of their adventures through
Yeah,
the eyes of the everyday just imperialist who's just showing up to work. Like you see the repercussions of the actions. I like that. So
yeah. I wouldn't really want those two characters to ever cross over, though.
no, exactly, and that's the thing. They don't have to, because then once they start crossing over is when it starts feeling small again. I want Star Wars to feel big, and
Yeah, not even that, but just the two styles I would find jarring.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
just it's one of those things where you have these awesome adventures going on, and you look at Andor, and it kind of scales things back down to the ground level, where like it sort of makes the greater characters feel more powerful, I guess.
Yeah.
When you look at
Well, again, I just see it as two different styles, which is fine. I
but
have no problem
in
with.
my head they work like they work in their own way.
Yeah, no, I think that both of them work. I just think that, like, let's compartmentalize
Oh yeah,
them.
for sure. They shouldn't need to
But
intersect, but the only intersecting point should be the aftermath, because the Andor would be the bureaucracy of it. So something happens over here. You don't need any character crossover. You just need to hear, oh, this event
I
happened
see what
over
you're
here.
saying.
And that way you can see, well, shit, how did this affect everything from the ground level, which is where Andor is told.
Yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, the this was a very strong opening. Super
More,
excited for this new season.
more.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait for the next episode. Just shut up and take my money. 100%.
Oh, so good. It's so good. It's everything I want in Star Wars. Just
Yeah.
that's it. And Andor gave me everything that I wanted in Star Wars that I didn't realize I wanted to see in Star Wars.
Yeah,
Both
me
are
too.
perfect.
Absolutely great show. Shall we take a break from reviews and do our battle nerds, and then
Yeah,
we
let's
can
do some
get
battle
back into the home
nerds.
nerd?
Let me grab my dice.
So battle nerds is our segment where we created a list of 100 iconic characters. We random roll to see which character we get, and then we have to come up with a convincing argument as to why that character would win in a battle.
Mm.
There are some rules, like we're allowed to pick our own versions of the character, etc. Last week we were doing Thanos versus Nightwing.
Oh yeah,
Cat picked traditional Thanos from the comics. No gauntlet, of course, because that kind of makes him overpowered.
a little bit.
I tried to find a version of Nightwing that could go closer to toe with Thanos. The best version I found, or in my opinion, was the Dragon Slayer Nightwing from the Dark Knight
That's a
Metal comic.
version I didn't even know existed.
It's fairly
but,
recent,
but it's pretty fucking cool. Like,
it's
send me the
pretty
picture
cool.
of it, and here's Nightwing just shredding on an axe guitar. Like, that's badass, and his hair's all flowing.
And the guitar is forged from the axe guitar is forged
Right.
from
Like it looked
the
like
last remaining power rings, and he has a
Right.
Kryptonian guitar pick.
pick. Like, this is something that needs to be on a panel van.
Yeah. It's cool. And it was a fun matchup. Unfortunately, in my opinion, because I really wanted him to survive, Nightwing goes down, so Thanos moves on.
That was still a good fight, though. I mean, I
Well, you know me, I always go for the underdog.
yeah.
But so Thanos, I think this is Thanos's second win, so
Second
that
win.
puts him into third place. Our top first place person with 4 wins at the moment is the Wolverine.
Yes.
And then Nightwing goes into into our losers category with many, many other fallen champions.
Yes.
So this week we're doing the Bride from Kill Bill. That's Cap's champion,
Yes.
and my champion is the warrior princess Xena.
The warrior princess. Period. Hard stop.
Why can the Bride? I assume you're just going with the Kill Bill.
We're going with Kill Bill now.
I'm just going with. I know there's a comic book Xena, but I'm going to go with the show.
So, Kill Bill. I've seen the movie, just not in its totality. I've seen it in pieces. So, and I don't think I've seen the second one at all, but I've seen pieces of the first one.
They're very different. It's interesting that it's the first one. That was going to be my Behold Nerds pick, by the way. Kill Bill too.
Really?
But the first one is much more action oriented.
Right.
Second one is much more story oriented.
Right. So this is Beatrix Kiddo, I believe her name is, the Bride. She was a assassin of the Deadly Viper Assassination Squad or something like that. Yeah. And on her
name was Black Mamba.
Yes, and during her wedding rehearsal, Bill, her husband, decided to murder everybody, including her and her unborn child, quote unquote.
I don't think it was her husband, right?
Or no, it was fiance, I guess.
No, he killed her fiance. He was just a guy that she was with.
Okay.
And she was part of that squad which he led. But yeah.
So essentially, she was trained by, I believe his name is Pei Mai. She's got her signature katana, and she knows the 5-point palm exploding technique, where she can do the thing on the chest to make people's heart explode in 5 seconds. She can pluck people's eyes out. She
also has a Hanto sword?
Yeah, which is one of the most perfectly crafted swords ever.
And that was like his finest work as well.
Right.
It's such a good. It's like a total superhero comic book thing.
Right.
I love it. I love it.
So you know what it is? This movie is Quentin Tarantino's John Wick.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he said himself. This is also because like his movies are connected.
Mm-hmm.
This is a movie that the characters in his movie watched.
Okay.
So this is fictional in his universe.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But okay. So Xena, the warrior princess. We've talked about her before. She's possibly the daughter of a god, Ares. She doesn't. I mean, she does have superpowers because she can defy gravity, and she can kind of like make crazy shit happen. She also, like Beatrix Kiddo. I mean, they haven't said like 5-point exploding palm. She knows the opposite of that.
Mm-hmm.
So if Beatrix Kiddo went like pa 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 pa, ha, she would go da 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 da, and then like ha, and then she'd be fine. Like there was even an episode where there was a guy who knew all that kind of shit, and she fought him, and he would like hit her, and her arm would stop working, and then she would go ga ga ga, and then her arm's back. So she knows the healing side of that style of kung fu.
Okay.
So it's actually kind of an interesting matchup from that point of view.
This is awesome.
Yeah. I think in terms of weapons, I do think she's outclassed. I think that the Han sword is dangerous enough that it could probably cut through her sword.
Mm-hmm.
That said, she's got superpowers. I know Beatrix Kiddo sort of does, like she jumps and lands. Well,
yeah, she has ninja powers.
She has ninja powers, but like Xena just defies physics. So I think she's got the edge there. So why do I think Xena wins? I think because she's got the edge in terms of defying physics, which I think she probably gets from her godparent. Well, Beatrix has the better blade. They're at the bare minimum equally classed fighters. I would argue Xena's probably a little bit better, assuming Beatrix doesn't have a gun, which is going to be a problem. Xena's is going to be able to, in a straight up match, just overpower Beatrix essentially. And so that's why I gave it to her. In addition to a sword, she also has her chakram and her whip.
Mm-hmm.
So even if she loses one weapon, I think Xena is going to be like Beatrix cut through her sword or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she's going to be skilled enough to like switch out and handle it herself.
She's a little bit more versatile in combat.
Yeah, she's versatile.
Okay.
And then it could even, like I said, get down to them being like da 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 da,
Right. So I see it through the same lens as you. It's just going to boil down to who the fans think would come out on top, because Xena has the opposite power, so I can see them starting off using their weapons first, kind of doing the dance. They're probably equally skilled. One might manage to disarm the other. Maybe it's Beatrix who cuts through Xena's sword. Well, guess what? Because she's adaptive, she has the whip. She's got the chakra. I can see the fight coming down to the hand-to-hand phase where you get the bride doing all the finger tricks and Xena doing the finger tricks and maybe doing some kung fu type action. What I would like to see is the bride somehow gets a hold of her sword again, maybe through just strategic placement. She kind of dances the battle back towards her weapon, and when Xena's distracted by something, she can grab her sword and just kind of do a sha-sha-sha, and Xena just explodes with just a cartoonish amount of blood. I think the bride might be a little bit of a smarter fighter, just when it comes to bladed combat. So I don't know.
The thing is, though, like Xena's been fighting in like wars and stuff like that.
So,
and I know the bride is an assassin, but I mean, if we're talking like combat to combat, like I said, Xena fought in wars.
So
that's something Beatrix has never dealt with.
So here's,
and then she's possibly part god.
Right. So there's one thing that Beatrix does do that I don't think Xena's touchy powers would be able to combat against, which is the freaking eye pluck. So I can see Beatrix doing the thing and Xena having a counter thing, and maybe the two of them get closer and closer to where Xena might have the edge, but then Beatrix does the one move she knows that no touchy touch can fix, and just gouges out freaking one of Xena's eyeballs out, and you have that moment where you have Lucy Lawless just like, oh my god, my eye, and you have the bride just kind of doing one of those freaking swipe with the pose where she's got the eyeball, and then when Xena's like, oh my god, my eye, it's when the bride takes her sword and just kind of sha-sha-sha, and down goes Xena.
Yeah, I guess. I think she's going to have a hard time grabbing Xena's eye, because Xena is not, I think she's going to be the better combatant. I just do. I think that her skill level, her skill ceiling is going to be higher than Beatrix, partly because Beatrix is okay. So in the Black Widow movie, the what's her name? Black Widow's sister's like, oh yeah, well the problem, no one messes with you because you're an Avenger. It's in your name. Right. If someone messes with you, one of the dangerous Avengers will come in and avenge you. Right. And then she's like, what do you mean? And then she's like, well, I don't think the Viking space god needs to take ibuprofen after a fight. And Beatrix Kiddo needs to take ibuprofen after a fight. Xena is superhuman and does not. And so that's what I boil this fight down to. We're talking a superhuman against a non-superhuman.
All right.
Close though. She's kind of a Batman.
Yeah.
But, okay. So
I will say this. Even as the battle gets closer and closer together, where it's fist to fist, I still give the edge to Beatrix because she mastered the one finger, the death punch, one-inch punch. So
the 5-finger death punch,
yeah, but she also did the 1-inch punch because she punched herself out of a coffin. So she actually Batman'd her way, bare-fisted. Batman had his car keys. Again, Beatrix has full-on punched her way out of a coffin. Good for her.
Yeah. No, I mean, so, well, there you go. So, we'll put it down to you guys. Cap is saying that Beatrix's kung fu is stronger than Xena's. I think Xena's just overall decades of combat experience,
Right.
combined with the fact that she knows kung fu as well, gives her the edge. But mostly it's because of her superhuman nature. It's to me, this fight is a Batman versus Wonder Woman,
Right.
and Wonder Woman wins. It's
fair.
But anyway, it's not up to us, so we'll put a poll up on Twitter, as well as you guys can message us here or anywhere. And if you're on what do you call it, YouTube, that's fine. Just leave a comment. We add up everything, and we'll announce the winner next week. Yes. We may not do a Battle Nerds next week, but we'll still roll for it. Yes. If we have time, we'll do it. It depends on how long our guest wants to discuss his comic, because we like to dedicate time to our guests.
Also depends on who we roll, because this was a good one. This was pretty fair.
All right.
I rolled a 41.
Okay. Let's see. This is an interesting one. I haven't decided how to do this, but you've got a TMNT. So, I mean, do we do it as a team, or do we do it as an individual turtle? That's the question.
I think we originally decided that we could either pick or we can roll a d4 for it.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, just keep your team. No, I didn't get someone very powerful, and someone I don't even like that much. I got Harry Potter. So tune in. It'll either be 4 turtle. I'll let you decide, Cam. You can do whatever you want.
I mean, there's 2 answers. I'm either going to go with the team or I'm going to go with Ronan.
I figured you'd do Ronan.
Yeah.
All right, so Ronan versus movie Harry Potter.
Yes. I am going to reach out to fellow nerd Adria, who is a big Potter fan, and I would love to hear her opinions on this battle. This will be.
I am not a Harry Potter fan, but I will do my best to represent the Potter fans out there.
Yes,
and come up with a reason why
the boy wizard can beat one of the most skilled ninjas in the Turtleverse. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Get-o away-o or whatever. Battlefield removal. I win.
Yeah. You could.
I don't know. All right. Well, that'll be an interesting one. It's going to require a little bit of work on my part, but I didn't have to even try with Xena. I knew everything about her. I used to watch her show I would like look forward to it and like have my popcorn.
Going through the TV guide trying to find it. Yes.
Well, I knew when it would air because I was living in England, so it was like at this time we had satellite TV over there. Anywho, what time is it? It's 12. So yeah, I'll jump into Behold Nerds.
Yes. So again, apologies ahead of time. This is our weekly book club where we pick a thing for the other to consume, and we encourage everybody at home to join us. Last week I did choose Kill Bill. Unfortunately, it wasn't easily available for viewing.
It's not available anywhere. It's literally not streaming.
So
I read something saying it was on Peacock, so I spent the $5 to get Peacock because I was like, well, it's about a rental.
Right.
And then I was like, it's just not there. It's not going to month of Peacock for nothing.
You should call and complain about that. That seems like a complainable offense.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
maybe
I was just gonna like be like, well, I got a month of Peacock.
Right.
I'm always looking for shit to watch at dialysis anyway, so
right.
It's a new streaming channel that I can explore.
Go watch Picard.
I don't care about Picard.
Go watch.
I think it's got some sitcom or something that I love, like The Office or some Parks and Rec or something. So I could sit down and rewatch that. That would be a fun thing to. I've been wanting to get into Parks and Rec because that's just one of the funniest things I've ever seen. That show is just so good.
But anyway, so we chose Tropic Thunder and a last minute pinch. This was a movie I've been wanting to see. I just haven't. Oh boy, what a cast! Great cast. Um, where should
Okay,
we be?
so this is controversial, but when I
Mm,
first saw Tropic Thunder, everybody was saying this is the funniest thing you will ever see.
mm,
And like, or that kind of level. People were like losing their mind about how good this shit was.
right.
And sometimes I think hype ruins movies because I went and was like, yeah, it was good. You know what I mean? Like that was
Right.
where I was at. And then this time upon watching it, I was like, oh, I get it now. This is great.
Right.
And so I needed the second time actually.
Mm.
Um it starts and we get those fake
The fake
trailers and
trailers.
stuff.
Right.
And they're done in a way, in that perfect way where it's a little bit sillier than reality, but it's close enough to reality
Right.
where you're like, yeah, this is what we get, you know?
Right. It's just a half a step closer in the like going towards idiocracy in
Yeah.
terms of yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a parody, but
Right.
it's a parody done not too far.
Right. Right. It's just a
I mean,
half
I
a
guess
step.
they do go pretty hard, like towards the end when it like with that Ben Stiller's like, you know, and then it's again this summer, and
Right.
you know, like hell freezes over, scorchers. Yeah,
Right.
it's silly.
Um,
But
again,
the my favorite
Jack
part though in the
Black.
whole film is that is besides this the trailers is that first military thing, like where they're showing the movie from like if you were watching the movie's
Right.
perspective.
Right.
Oh god, that was making me laugh so hard. Like they're like, look, and then he's like running, and he's getting shot like 1,000 times.
But he's still going.
Survive, boy. Like that one guy got stabbed,
His
and he's
guts
like
hanging out.
still like,
I don't even know what this is.
he's like,
uh,
it's so good. It's so stupid. It's just, oh man, I was laughing so hard watching that.
I think the funniest out of all of them is Tom Cruise. Good gravy. And even how they
Everybody liked Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise was great in this, and even how they teased him at the end of the credits, where they wait till the very, very end and plop that. Oh yeah, and Tom Cruise. Like if you rewatch the credits, they tease him, but they don't actually address him until the very end. But he's the one who's kind of dancing around to the with everything going on. Beautiful
Yeah,
shot.
they said that he based his it's all his character is entirely himself. He
Mhm.
came up with that all by himself. They didn't have that in the movie. That was just all Tom Cruise. Everything down to the extra oversized hands and stuff.
Yeah.
And the dancing, all it was all him. And
It's
then
so good.
he based his character off of Harvey Weinstein and stuff like that.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and yeah, it's his character is great. He nailed it. But everybody else was also really good.
I'll mail you a hobo's ball
I
cheese.
I particularly liked Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
Yep. I'm a dude dressed like another dude, pretend to be another dude. No, I'm a dude.
Yeah,
pretend to be...
but he just nailed it, like playing this guy that believes he's a black guy.
Just method acting the whole way.
Yeah, like
Like how
and
he's
like,
the Jared Leto of the bunch. That's him.
yeah, and then his whole thing where he talks about like Ben Stiller's character with Simple Jack, and then that conversation. I don't want to say exactly what was said in that movie because times have changed.
You don't go
But
full.
yeah, like, and it's true. It's absolutely true.
Right.
Like the the I forget the movie he referenced, but yeah, they do make any character that has mental issues like have superpowers,
Right.
and
But
if you
see,
don't
what's
do
great
that,
is that his character, who's essentially doing a black face, is called out by the black guy is going too far. Like he's going full. Like that's the whole premise
yeah,
of the movies. You don't go full. Yeah. Like that's the whole movie.
but yeah, it's a hilarious movie.
Oh my god, it was funny. I'm glad I finally watched this. It's so good. Jack Black is freaking wonderful in this. Like his trailer where he's like the Eddie Murphy type where he dresses up as all the
yeah,
characters.
the farties or
Yeah, the
whatever.
farty. Oh, fart too. just and he's just addicted to heroin the whole time they have to tie him to a tree.
Yeah, or what's his name? The character. Oh God. Uh, the agent. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like everybody.
Matthew McConaughey. Yeah.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey's character. Like they don't have TiVo set up yet. Like, yeah, and, like it all connects. This movie's just such a good time. Like it's not like okay. Well, so I got into a debate about this recently. I when people are like, "Oh, it's not like high cinema or something." Comedy is just as difficult
Right.
to do as drama.
Right.
So I don't understand why people shit on comedy sometimes, and like, oh, it should be this like high art drama. Comedy is art.
Right.
It's just it's a different flavor,
Right.
you know. And this is it's as good as comedy gets.
Well, so going back to the movie's theme, which is you never go full. The one rapper, I forget his name, but he's got the booty juice and he's there rapping about I get the juices all over.
It does have a message about being true to who you really are.
Right, but then they're having this bonding moment where they call him out and it's like, yo, you really go the other way, don't you? And it was that moment where it's like, yo, you never go full.
Wait, well, I mean, okay, moving on from the full. I think the movie's underlying message is being true to who you are,
right?
Because you have the one character. He's being a black guy. You got the other character who's actually gay.
Right.
You got the one character who he's trying to be this actor that he's not. And so this is true of all the characters in the movie,
right? And
then on top of it, we got this great comedy. At the end, they kind of that's the whole thing, you know. Russell Crowe's character, or not Russell Crowe, Robert Downey Jr.'s character, it's the Australian thing,
right?
He's like, yes, you know, it's his friend, and he brings him up, and
right,
you know, they kind of accept who they are. We see the one character, he's probably with Lance now,
right?
So yeah, that was and even the character Four Leaf, it turns out he was a fake,
right? He
he was supposed to be this military guy,
yes,
and he had no hands. They pull off the hooks.
It's just the hooks, and then if you look, they're using the hooks later on to hotwire the bridge with the C4.
Yeah.
But from my warped comedic brain, it is, yes, being true to yourself, but carried on the vessel of don't go full. That's what it is. It's a movie that said its message out front. It's just unless you blink, you miss it, and I like that. My favorite part was when Ben Stiller at the end thinks that he's gonna talk the village into like chilling out, like, hey, it's cool, you know, they understand me, they respect me, I have a relationship with them. And then he goes, and then immediately you hear the gunfire, and he's running. He's got the kid who he thinks he's like become almost like a surrogate father is on his back, and you think, oh, he rescued the kid, he's running away from the village rescuing and then it turns he's just stabbing him in the neck. It's just, bro, stop
I was
it.
wrong, blow the bridge. And he throws it, a woo.
You never go full. Lovely. I love this movie. It's a great movie.
I think he was talking about how his acting is more subtle now and stuff like that. But yeah,
right.
When he started replaying Simple Jack, putting that old guy's teeth in his mouth, it was great. Yeah. I really enjoyed watching this one. It made me laugh.
Right.
Just showed up to take my money.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the MVP was definitely
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. It's weird. I always think this about Tom Cruise because he's got the association with that messed up church and everything like that.
Yeah.
And there's definitely been some moments where you're like, wow, that guy's crazy, but damn, dude could knock it out of the park sometimes.
He looks like a fun dude.
Yeah, well, he's supposed to be really nice too. Yeah. But he does knock it. Like, what was that movie we watched recently? The sci-fi one he was in. That was just so good.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge
Yeah.
of Tomorrow. Yeah.
Great movie. He's good.
And the recent Maverick. I mean, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just also you got stuff like The Mummy, and you're just like,
Yeah. I don't think that was a him problem. I think that was a movie problem.
That was definitely a him problem. Everything has to be about me all the time. Me, no other characters. And yeah, that was definitely a him problem. I almost want to choose that just so I can be like, look how shitty this is.
No. No.
All right, but it sounds like Tropic Thunder should have taken my money.
Oh
for
yeah,
both of
yeah,
it.
yeah. So it's your pick.
So my pick. So you got me in the mood for Quentin Tarantino with Kill Bill, and I did see when I was browsing trying to find Kill Bill that Fury is available for rent. So I haven't seen Fury in a long time. I would love to revisit it. Have you seen it before?
No, I have not.
Oh, well, you're in for a fucking treat.
Okay.
Can't wait to talk. This is a top tier movie in my opinion. Quentin Tarantino's all his movies. Whatever you think about the man, he makes great movies.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good at what he does. Really good.
Right.
But yeah, can't wait to watch it. Fury is a movie about World War II. Okay. It's set in the Quentin Tarantino universe. Some of the characters related to other characters that you meet. Mm-hmm. Like I forget which one, but like the Bear Jew character. Yeah. I think he's related.
Yeah. So I really did like Inglourious Bastards. I think that movie has one of the best openings in any like movie I've seen.
You know what? I'm mixing Fury with Inglourious Bastards. I am. Sorry. This is the tank movie.
Okay.
I combined the two in my head. But still, it's much Fury. It's fucking great.
Okay. So anyways, in other news, you got around to reading some fine literature. And I've been itching and foaming at the mouth to hear.
Right, this is a David Ayer movie. Ugh, I'm way off. Should we watch Inglourious Bastards?
I really do like that movie.
Let's watch Fury because you haven't seen it before. It's still great.
Okay.
David Ayer, the guy who did Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So this is his movie. It's Brad Pitt. They're tank drivers.
Okay.
It's cool. I've never seen before this movie like a realistic tank battle between two tanks.
Where they're trying to point their turrets at each other and playing cat.
Yeah, and and it's like, oh shit, if we get hit, we're dead.
Right.
And it feels real, and they're like, lock it in, shoot this many blah blah blahs, and yeah, it's really cool.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, we'll watch Fury. Okay, so yeah, we've been talking about it for a while. I finally read what is it? Boba Fett, Enemy of the Empire.
Yes.
Older comic. What's funny is halfway through reading it, I was like, have I read this before? And when I visited from England to America, we used to come back every 6 months. I remember being at Target and I was waiting for, my family, and I picked up a book, and it was one of the comics in this story. Like, I think it's a couple of comics or something.
Okay.
And yeah, and it was like the middle part, and that's why I started recognizing stuff. But I've never read the whole thing, so it was good. So this is an older comic. I think it's from 1999.
I think it might be a little bit. Ooh, I'm not sure the date. Ooh, check the date. I thought it was a little bit earlier than that.
No, not Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett, Enemy of the Empire. Let's see, 1999. Yeah, I was right.
Okay, cool.
The author John Wagner. See if I can pull up any more information about it. It's a cool book. It's got an art style kind of similar to, more kind of cartoony, like kind of like old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that style.
Yeah.
It was, there's a bunch of artists who worked on it, but penciler was Ian Gibson and John Nadeau. So and then inkers Ian Gibson again and Jim Amash. So sure, if you follow either of those artists, you'd be familiar with their styles. But yeah, it reminded me of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It's like late
Um,
'80s cartoony.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it was very cool. I liked that art style. I was
Mhm.
totally fine with it. Um, what did I think?
So, I mean, story, we follow Boba Fett. He's takes on an assignment for the Empire. The Empire wants to tie up some loose threads and sends a group of people out to kill Boba Fett. And through his adventures, we see him face off against Boba Fett, and then against Darth Vader. You have the cult. I think the cult is probably one of my least favorite parts about the comic. They were silly. Was it
on
the
the
cult
nose, they're the cult of what is it?
pessimism?
Pessimism.
Yeah.
And
They
they're
just
like,
don't care
"Oh,
about
woe
anything.
is us," and then it's like a joke because like at the end they're like, "Oh, I'm no longer a pessimist," and then Darth Vader like nukes them from orbit.
Right.
The yeah, so it is a good comic. Okay. So you were saying like, "Oh, this is your Boba Fett, and this is what you wanted, and all this kind of thing," and I get it, but it's Mandalorian.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that. So they had to go somewhere different with Boba Fett because they already did this character with Mandalorian.
Right.
Um. But yeah, so it's a much more Mandalorian style Boba Fett. He's actively a bounty hunter. I did think it was a little weird, Vader's whole thing of like, "Hey, I'm gonna send these guys after to kill him," and oh no, once he gets the treasure and everything, and
Right.
it all comes down to a battle between Vader and Boba Fett, which is, to be honest, what we all wanted to see.
Right. They're
And
fighting over a head that when
predicts the future.
yeah. So
Um,
they fight on a kind of a lava planet, kind of sorta.
yeah, and they each character was treated with respect. Like Boba Fett, like Vader was like, "Oh, it's Boba Fett,"
Right.
and Boba Fett's like, "Yeah, whatever you do, I can't get into a close combat battle with Vader."
Right.
Boba Fett was kind of the underdog, but at the same time, Vader knew he was an actual challenge.
Right.
So yeah, as far as it was a good little battle, that's what it all leads to. That's
Right.
definitely what we want to see. Um, it was good. I mean, I do think this is just me nitpicking because you do. Boba Fett gets the head. Head's like, "Oh, I can predict your future."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't want that." And then he's like, "But I need to do this with Vader." And so he this whole thing is he throws the head in the lava, and Vader's like, "No!" And then
Right.
Boba Fett's like, "Bye," and then he's gone, and that's how the fight ends. And I'm just like, he could have just left the head like there, maybe with like to me this would have been more Boba Fett. Put the head there, have like a thermal detonator in there, his hand on the trigger,
Right.
and just been like, "I'm getting out of here. Your head's over there.
Right.
If you mess with me, my finger comes off this trigger and that blows up." And then Vader's like, "Okay."
Right.
And then they could have like walked by each other. I know that we would have never had a fight.
Right.
So it's one of those moments where it's like, "Hey, shut up." Right? Okay. Suspension of disbelief.
Right.
But to me, that's what he should have done.
It's fair. But it was still everything leads up to the fight. It was great. You see how Boba Fett earns the respect of Darth Vader.
Yeah. I mean, he already had it because Vader kept talking about how he's like actually someone that with that head. I actually thought the most interesting part of the comic was once Vader gets it, and the head's like, "No, you're gonna kill me because it can see the future." And he's like, "Why would I do that?" And he goes, "Because you don't want the Emperor to have it." And because the whole power struggle between those two characters.
Right.
And then so he kills the head because he doesn't want the Emperor to have it.
Right.
And so the whole thing becomes pointless. That to me was really cool. I thought that was like a great ending. And then after that, you get the little ending bit where it's one of those little mini comics,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the story where he finds a salvage ship and gets attacked by like bee things that like melt into his armor
Mm-hmm.
and kill people, and then it turns out it's one guy like that's their snack.
Right.
And I don't know, I thought that was my favorite part. I actually really loved that little mini comic
Right.
more than we did the bigger one.
But it was still good though. Like no,
It was still
so
good. I'm
so
just saying.
it's one of those things where at the end of a comic they always have like the little like here's this flavor of comic coming soon. And it gives you a taste into something different. No, I agree.
It was a whole story, and it was done in the same style.
Yeah.
But it was just this interesting little story about Boba Fett coming up on salvage and trying to salvage the ship, and then he still comes out of it a little bit richer.
Right.
And I don't know, I like those little ones
Yeah.
sometimes more because it's more of like a day in the life of,
Right.
you know,
No,
and
that's a fair
that's
point.
why I really enjoyed that little mini part of it.
Fair point. But I'm glad you liked it.
Oh, it was great.
Marry
I
everything.
enjoyed it. Just showed him take my money. I loved the kind of old school style of it. The art I thought was great.
It's funny how you managed to pinpoint down to that moment where you were at a Target reading a comic. That's an oddly specific thing to remember, like a time and place of like reading a specific just issue.
That's how my brain works, though.
Like that's impressive. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I just stuff like that. I suck at like. Okay, if you were like, "Here, Frosty, I need you to hold this," and I go, "Okay," and I put it in my jacket, I will never remember to give that back to you, ever. You would have to remind me when it's in my jacket. I will completely forget that it exists. Until like reach into my jacket, I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta remember. God, it's out of my brain. Remembering small details from my childhood, no problem.
Right. That's awesome. Anyways, glad you liked it. We are at about 6 minutes before I get to go start doing everything. I have so much adulting to do.
Yeah. Life is fun.
Yuck.
Well, again, so reminder, we're gonna have a guest next week. So that look forward to that. I forgot to write down what are our who's battling next. I want to put that in the note.
Ronan versus
Ronan versus
Harry Potter. Yes.
MNT versus the hairiest of Potters.
Yes.
Okay. And then, so this is just, I like to put some extra things in there in case we have some extra time. This is something I've been wanting to talk about on this channel for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, Deadpool.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Clearly derived from Deathstroke.
Yes.
His name is Wade Wilson versus Wade Wilson. They're both mercenaries.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of look similar.
Tiny bit.
They both have healing factors.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was just known, right?
Right.
Okay. So I'm on Twitter and I'm like, and I see someone arguing with someone about Deadpool and Deathstroke. And the guy he's like yeah, they're clearly Deadpool clearly comes to Deathstroke. The other person's like, I don't know why people think this. That's not true. Blah 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 blah. And then the other person says the creators even came out and said it. Now, then it clicked why this is funny. The creator is Rob Liefeld.
Right. I met him before. Nice. Dude.
Okay. But he's the guy in the Twitter debate saying that Deadpool has nothing to do with Deathstroke.
Wait, what?
Yes. So it's funny that he calls out the other guy because the other guy's like, oh, the creators even said it. You're talking to the creator, so you don't know who the creator is.
Right.
But the creator of this is where my mind went. The creator of Deadpool, Rob Liefeld, doesn't believe Deadpool is derived from Deathstroke, yet Deadpool is clearly derived from Deathstroke.
Haven't they?
Like
they've admitted as much.
Yeah, I guess he didn't know, because that's him flat out saying this is bullshit.
Okay, but do you think that maybe he's just trolling the guy?
No, 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 no. This is I looked into it. He's
What?
said this out loud many times. The Deadpool does not come from Deathstroke. I had no idea about this, but yet it's clearly is, and that's why I'm just so perplexed.
Right.
I mean, I just yeah, I don't even know where my brain lands on this.
They
It's
they
so
use
weird.
the same fucking swords.
Yeah, but the creator says it's not, and so I don't know if it's one of those things where he's just one of these people that's like, nah, you know, like,
Like, we're not saying it like it's a bad thing. We're just saying
no,
that
we're not. Just some of
no.
the best characters are derived from other characters,
Right.
and that's totally fine. I mean, Thunderbolt Ross we were talking about earlier,
Mm,
he's totally freaking Captain Ahab. There's
right.
just no other way of looking at that character.
Right.
And Thunderbolt Ross is a fucking great character.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so that's what I mean. It's not problematic. I'm not saying it in a bad way or anything. I didn't know that Rob Liefeld denied it, and
What?
if so, like why? Because I mean,
But
it's so obvious.
I thought this has been well known.
I did too. Yeah, it's yeah. You're as perplexed as I am
Like,
over this.
my head hurts. You made
Yeah,
you
yeah,
made
right.
my head hurt. Which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
which makes me think he's got to be trolling, but you say he's not because you've
Oh, he's
researched.
definitely not. He's definitely not.
Don't stop saying that. It hurts my head. Oh, look at that. We like to end the show with a nerdy quote by Mr. Frosty. Thanks to everybody who watched all platforms. Thanks for tuning in. We do like to end the show with a nerdy note that won't hurt my head. Mr. Frosty, go.
All right, I'll try. Today is a day that will go down in history. Today is a day they will talk about for generations to come. Today we are space Vikings. Present arms. Whomsoever holds these weapons believes in getting home, if they are true of heart, is therefore worthy, and shall possess, for a limited time only,
Oh,
the
no.
power of Thor.
Good night, everybody.